Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today with me is the original shark on the hit TV show Shark Tank and the inventor of the infomercial, Kevin Harrington. Kevin, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, Seth, awesome to be here. Looking forward to an exciting guest.
Today we have Eric Jorgenson, who is, his blog has educated and entertained more than 1 million readers. He's sold over 1 million copies of the author of the Almanack of Naval Ravikant, hosts the podcast Smart Friends, and today, obviously here to talk about him becoming the CEO of Scribe Media. Full transparency, full disclosure, we have a working relationship with Scribe. They send us guests for our podcast all the time. Eric, thanks so much for being on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Hey, full disclosure, I wrote a book with him too.
Yeah, the roots go pretty deep here. Yeah, we worked with you on Mentor to Millions. And I mean, I know both of you guys are prolific authors. Is the right place to start here? Just like talking about what books have done for each of our careers? Because it was life-changing for me personally to publish my first book.
Well, since you're the guest, let's start with you. So yes, first off, let's talk about what books like the Almanack, which is one of my favorite books, by the way, what the Almanack did for you. And then obviously talking about your role at Scribe, where you get to help a whole lot more people have books.
I mean, I kind of stumbled into writing the book on Naval. I just was tweeting about book ideas that I had. I'd always been a reader and a writer, but I was shocked to find him supportive and approving. And what I thought was going to take me 3 months to write a great book turned into 3 years. But I published it with the help of Scribe. I was a happy customer and client of theirs and have been a steadfast fan of the company, and immediately started working on my second book with them right after publishing my first, because it gets addicting once you realize what can happen for you with a book out there in the world. It was life-changing for me.
You know, I have to share my story because it's pretty awesome. I had somebody, that said, hey, it was a famous guy, Richard Branson. I was down at his island, Necker Island. And he's like, Kevin, said, you've done a great job selling products on TV and building other people's brands, but you've never built your own. You need to write a book, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And so the book was the first thing that he said, go do. So, because, Richard Branson, he creates lots of content. So went home, started a book, got the book done. And then I was promoting the book, doing talk shows and doing speaking engagements. And who was following all of that was Mark Burnett at Shark Tank, looking for a shark. And so I got the phone call because they're like, who's this guy that's writing books and doing all these products and speaking at all these events in the world of products and as seen on TV? And that got the call, and boom, led to being on Shark Tank. So I directly say that writing a book turned into becoming a shark on Shark Tank. And I just going to say that books can create massive futures for people, but it's not just writing it, it's promoting it and doing the right things with it. That's the most important.
Absolutely. So Eric, how did you end up as CEO of Scribe? Congratulations, by the way, because that's a relatively recent development in the last year or two.
Yeah, it was about a year ago. And thank you for that story, Kevin. That was incredible. From Richard Branson to Shark Tank in one book. I ended up, as I said, I was just a fan of Scribe. I was a happy customer, and they went through some tough times. So I started hitting the phones trying to find somebody that I thought would be a good owner of the company. The founders had stepped back and the interim leadership made, I think, some questionable decisions that put the company in some trouble, and they needed new ownership. So I found some people that would go in and buy those assets, and little did I know that they would call me a little later and say, we need somebody to come run this company. We think it should be you. So now I get to go help other authors through the portal that changed my life, that changed Kevin's life, and get to sort of play a role in helping people build their books and helping those books build their businesses. I know there's so many stories in Scribe's history and a lot more to come in our future.
Silly me, I wrote my 9 books myself. However, we do now, obviously.
Maybe number 10 then.
Right, maybe number 10. We do help our podcast clients create enough content to go be in a book of a different type than what Scribe does. Obviously, they're the best at what they do. Why do so many clients love your process, and why does it generate so many results?
Look, I think it comes down to quality, right? Like there's a lot of people out there who say they're ghostwriters. There's a lot of people offering consulting and self-publishing. There's not a lot of people who can do like what we did with Kevin and Mentor to Millions and write a book that is of a sufficient quality to go get a deal from a big publishing house, or to sit on a shelf in a bookstore next to a book from a traditional publisher and be just as good. And I think that quality matters so much. Like that book is a representation of you. It's out there doing work for you, carrying forth your ideas in a really powerful medium. Like the medium is the message, right? If you write a great book that feels high quality, that feels like it came out of one of those traditional publishing houses, that impresses people with your ideas, they're going to pick up the phone and call you when they're done with that. And that is what really like builds trust with people. You can put a message out in a book like that.
Yeah. Do you guys get involved in helping, after you write the book, helping people market the book and get it distribution, et cetera? Because in our relationship, I think you guys mostly just did the writing. We did the marketing. We had a robust marketing program. We took our book to number 2 on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, which is, they count how many books get sold. So that's a real deal situation. We were selling tens of thousands of books when we kicked it off, and 185 podcasts that I did to promote that book. Over 3 months, 150 of them ran within a 2-week window during the 2-week window of the launch of the book.
Wow, that's incredible. And spiked you up that sales list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we helped. We told everybody. I even did Adam Carolla like 4 months before the book was coming out. And I said, Adam, I need you to hold this until the week of the book. He said, dude, I need this for content next week, but I'll do you one better. We'll launch this next week, and then we're going to do another one live the week of the book launch. And so we did a lot of that. I just enjoyed the process, but I will say launching a book successfully takes a lot out of you. I mean, it's not an easy task. So anyone that's thinking about it, be ready to use it as an explosive marketing opportunity, but also be ready to put your nose to the grindstone to make it happen.
Sure. In the old days, you might have gone on a plane and hit 20, 30 cities going talk show to talk show. And I know you did do some of that, but thankfully we were able to help in 185 podcasts, a lot of which were conducted via Zoom. So you could knock out 10, 12 in one exhausting day, as opposed to being on a plane for 6 months in a row.
My wife would listen to me and she'd say, because I have a home office, she'd say, why do you say the same thing every time? I'm like, because it's the first time they're hearing it, each person.
Different audience every time.
I can't take it anymore, she'd say.
Honey, you're not the one who has to repeat themselves all day.
I have to say it 185 times, an hour long each time. Okay.
So Eric, what do you like best about what you're doing at Scribe?
I mean, I love the conversations that take place between crafting a book and crafting the impact that the book can have. I like the thing that I repeat, like Kevin repeats, is a book does not have to make money to make you money. Very few authors are going to make the money back directly on their royalties, but there's a million ways to make your book work for you in the other businesses that you're trying to build. And exactly like Kevin described, it is a bat signal to be invited to speak, to be invited onto podcasts, to be invited to guest post, op-eds all over the place. And there's something to that cycle of you package your ideas in a book, you go out and brutally market this book for a period of time, and the momentum that gives you in your other businesses and where it can take you going forward. But
Yeah.
exactly as you're describing, it's hard work, and people really underestimate how much effort goes in, months and months of effort before that book comes out to have that big bang book launch that you see people create.
Eric, question for you. This is a book that I just launched and just launching now, but it's being done in conjunction with 15 entrepreneurs. It's a collaborative book. Do you guys do this kind of thing also?
We would certainly help you publish it. Most of the authors that we work with contribute to just do their books entirely themselves, get interviewed and deliver their knowledge, or write it themselves. If somebody wanted to create a compilation, we'd certainly help them publish it at a high level. Like if you wanted us to do design, graphics, page layout, proofreading, copy editing, assemble those things for you, we could absolutely do that. Or if another entrepreneur wanted to kind of follow in your footsteps and create an assembly of contributions from others and publish that, we could certainly help.
Super. Awesome.
I did, when you say a book can make you money as opposed to just selling the book, you're absolutely right. Every single one of mine was designed as lead generation. My very first one, again, I did it myself. I had a high school intern do the graphics. I do not recommend this at all. I still have it. It was embarrassing. My mother called me. She had bought it online. She wanted to buy a real book and called me and said, there's 23 pages of typos I found. You got to take it down. And I said, but Mom, it already made me $100,000 in the first month. And she said, well, that's more than I made in all my years of teaching in 1 year. And I said, exactly.
Yeah, the books are incredibly powerful. And I would think the closer they get to a high quality, traditionally published book, the greater the reach and the greater the impact they're going to have. But, that's a different game than what you're doing. A 20-page, like digital only kind of ebook that you publish as a lead magnet is just a different goal than like what Kevin's doing with Mentor to Millions to help you like raise your profile, do more speaking, increase your fees, attract high-paying clients, consulting, things like that.
Absolutely. And yes, our books, my ninth book looks way better, obviously, and was written way better than my first one.
It better be.
I won't show you the first one. Who is an ideal client for Scribe these days?
We've got kind of a handful of different archetypes. So entrepreneurs, executives, speakers, consultants. If you've got a service business if you get paid for your expertise and you want to capture that in a book in a way that's incredibly easy to interact with, we've got one person who will manage you through the entire process. We'll interview you, pull the knowledge out of you, help you structure and position the book so that it's an excellent book that represents you well and has an impact on your business. We also have people like David Goggins who come to us with a manuscript and say, look, I know I'm going to go sell 1 million copies. This is my product. This is my life's work. I want to own it entirely. I want to own all the final creative decisions. I want to own the full upside in every book that I sell. He works with us because traditional publishers won't give him that deal. They're going to take 80% of the earnings. They're going to take creative control. That's how most of these publishing deals work. You come to Scribe if you want the maximum upside and the maximum freedom and flexibility to use your book the way you want, whether that's give it away, charge $50 for it, or just take it like a normal book and earn 100% of your royalties forever. Goggins must be earning 10 million plus on his book royalties before you even get to his speaking, because he owns 100% of his royalties. And that's extremely rare. And publishing has changed. The business model that made sense 150 years ago when these big publishing houses started, you needed that upfront investment. You needed physical distribution and access to bookstores. You needed centralized media connections. All books are print on demand. They're sold through Amazon. There's no gatekeeper there. And people just recommend books to each other on social media. Why is anybody giving up the majority of their books' value and creative control to a traditional publishing house? I think we're going to see more and more people go direct. They've already built the audience. They've already de-risked the message. They know what they want to say. They can reach the people directly. There's no reason to share that hard work with the publishing house.
Amen. So how do you top the Almanack of Naval Ravikant?
It's an author's curse that it's, their first book may be their best. So I published a second book, the Anthology of Balaji, that's also being well loved in the tech world. And I'm working on a third right now that's actually a compilation of the most timeless and useful ideas from Elon Musk. So I think if anything can top the Almanack of Naval, it might be the book of Elon Musk, but we'll see. Are you guys working on your next books?
Oh boy, I don't know. The last one took it out of me. So I got to be, looking at the future. But yeah, I've probably got one more left in me.
All right. I hope we can help you out with it. What about you, Seth?
So you guys did a great job before. So thank you. Thank you for all of that. And let's continue to see if we can bring some business back and forth. I'd love to connect now that we know you're the guy. It's good news to see you took over. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Scribe's coming out of a tough time, but we're in a great spot. The team is incredibly dedicated, hardworking. They're craftspeople through and through. We love supporting our authors and giving them every chance to succeed and seeing them thrive. So it's incredible to see what you've done with Mentor to Millions. We hope to see many, many of our thousands of authors sort of follow in your footsteps.
Love it.
We greatly appreciate your time, Eric. We know it's incredibly valuable for our viewers and our listeners. Where is the best place for them to go to learn more about Eric and Scribe?
scribemedia.com and ejorgenson.com. That's where you'll find me, and that's where you'll find Scribe. And we'd love to chat with you about your book idea, your business, and see how it all fits together.
All right. Well, thank
you, Eric. Great job, man.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you.
Right.
This has been Seth Greene and Kevin Harrington for Sharkpreneur with Eric Jorgenson from Scribe Media. Thank you all for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.